Story 1. Bought a bathtub plug shaped like the back half of a goldfish, even though it was about $20 versus $2 for a regular plug. But a decade later, it still makes me smile, so it was obviously completely worth it. Story 2. Hiring a professional to do jobs around the house is often worthwhile. Sometimes it is not worth the time and effort to do it yourself. If you do not have the time or the right tools, hiring a professional is beneficial. It reduces stress and ensures the job is done properly. Story 3. When my children were young and we had little money, I would browse catalogs and cut out pictures of things I loved, hoping that someday they would be in our budget. More than 20 years have passed, and we are now more financially comfortable. Most of the items in my pictures are either unavailable or my tastes have changed, but I was still in love with a particular bracelet. I searched for it on eBay a few years ago and finally found one last year. I will never regret buying it. Story 4. I printed the I am a banana frame from the Rejected cartoon on a 6x8 canvas and hung it in our guest bathroom off the office. My wife rarely goes in there, and my goal is for it to become part of the house and escape her notice forever. It has been almost 6 months. Story 5. I bought a solid metal extra-large roll-top desk from a Federal Reserve building from the 1940s. It weighs 300 pounds. It cost me an embarrassing amount of money, and I love it. Story 6. My toilet paper has little rabbits on it. They are very cute. It makes me happy, so I pay a little more to have cute toilet paper with rabbits on it. Story 7. I bought a restaurant-style hot dog roller a few years ago. It is the best thing I have bought. Hardee's, I just toss hot dogs on and forget about them. I only check on them occasionally to turn them or add more. Story 8. Paying my mortgage off early. I know it is technically poor financial management, but it feels great owning my house free and clear. Story 9. Gestures wildly at the craft supplies that are overwhelming me and ruining my ability to have a cute minimalist house. I would do it all again and more though. I can make or repair anything. Do not ask me how many types of glue I have. I have 2 separate toolboxes for actual house do-it-yourself projects and crafts. I have 2 100-gallon tubs just for yarn. In about 10 hours, I will be visiting the local John Lewis. Need a needle felting tool. Help. Story 10. My PC. I paid a lot of money for a custom hardline tubing water-cooled build. I bought all of it during the peak of the COVID-19 chip shortage, which made everything nearly twice as expensive as it should have been. Practically speaking, it was absolutely not worth the money. But when I look at it, it's just beautiful. It may not have been worth the money, but it makes me happy, and I got to play all the video games during COVID-19. Edit. Actually, that last part is misleading. It was towards the end of COVID-19 lockdowns, and the market for components bounced back to the manufacturer's suggested retail price about a month after I bought everything. Such is life. Story 11. A $1,200 guitar instead of a $600 guitar. A $3,000 computer I built recently. I do not know, man. I cannot put a price tag on that stupid smile on my face when I am playing Paranoid by Black Sabbath for the 700th time on an amazing guitar, or playing a video game with a lot of modifications at very high frames per second. Story 12. Delivery for groceries. I call it a convenience fee because it means I know exactly what I am getting, how much I am spending, and I do not have to go to the bright, loud, busy supermarket. Story 13. Lego sets. Some call them childish, but I just love being able to build something iconic from my favorite franchises and then display it on a shelf. It is very satisfying. Story 14. Smart light bulbs. It is so convenient to get in bed at night and turn them all off with a tap on my phone. They also change colors, which is fun. Story 15. Quality tools. I have far too many from Snap-on and similar premium brands, but they are worth it. The people who say, you should have just bought Harbor Freight, are usually the first to borrow tools without asking because they won't round off the stuck bolt, or they don't hurt my hands when I'm really putting force on it. If I can keep them from walking off, they will last me a lifetime. Story 16. I am not saying to give in to the pressures of the wedding industry complex, but the expense of a wedding was something I was told I would wish I had spent on something else. Instead, I am so glad we did it. Story 17. Do you have a hobby that you plan to pursue for many years? Buy the highest quality tools you can afford. Learning with good tools means you will always know when your skill is the limitation. Story 18. I bought a hammock. It completely replaced sitting in a chair in my living room. Amazing. I use it every day and love it. Story 19. Houseplants. My succulents are truly just a money drain between the pots, soil, and buying new ones. But I find it worth it to have their vibrant green on my bookshelf, especially in the dead of winter. Story 20. I purchased a large squirrel statue and placed it in my mother's garden without telling her. I wanted to see how long it would take for her to find it. Took a few months. It was totally worth the laugh. Half the family was involved. Story 21. For me, my greatest form of entertainment is finding a video game that captures me for more than 40 hours. That is money well spent for a $70 game. However, to find that game, I sometimes need to buy 2 or 3 games I might like and try them out because I cannot force myself to like them. I often do not finish many of them, resulting in wasted money, but it is all worth it when I find that game that truly grips me again. Story 22. If you live within a 4-hour drive of an amusement park that offers an annual pass and the park is enjoyable, buy the pass once and visit twice a month. Is the pass expensive? Probably. Will you have fun? Almost certainly. Story 23. My Dyson Airwrap. I was scoffed at for buying a $500 hairdryer. I told him that I use it daily, then innocently asked how often he used his $600 PlayStation 5. He shut his mouth. Story 24. Vintage luxury watches. They take up little space, can be used on occasion, have aesthetic appeal, and are an appreciating asset. What is not to like? Story 25. Every few months, I treat myself to the most outrageously overpriced McDonald's imaginable, delivered straight to my door. What should be a humble $12 drive-through meal suddenly becomes a $50 extravaganza once you factor in delivery fees, service charges, and a generous tip to make sure it arrives piping hot. Do I feel guilty? Not even a little. I'm not paying for McDonald's. I'm paying for the luxury of eating nuggets in my pajamas without talking to a single human being. Worth every greasy cent. Story 26. Soft drinks and juice. Water is plain and does not provide the same experience. Water is for hydration. Everything else is for enjoyment. Story 27. A high-end wristwatch. I do not care that a digital clock is more accurate. I appreciate the craftsmanship and not needing to rely on batteries. Story 28. Decorating your room with things you like may not have any practical use, but it will boost your mood. Story 29. A $1,500 Seiko watch, when I could have found it online for about $1,000 if I was willing to search and wait. But I wanted that particular variant, I wanted it now, and I wanted to support the business I bought it from. Story 30. I bought a motorcycle that was listed for $1,500. I was going to offer $1,200. When I started to explain why it was not worth $1,500, he said, "How about $1,000? Then I countered with, "I was thinking more like $1,200. I stand by my mental illness. The motorcycle burned more oil than gas. Story 31. Expensive gym. Has an outdoor pool with a bar and water slides, an indoor pool, childcare, an indoor bar, hot tub, sauna, pickleball, basketball, squash, and workout equipment, although I have never tried it. It is extremely expensive, but it is the most pampered I have ever been. Story 32. I buy a lottery ticket every week. Costs only $2, and it is fun to think about what I would do if I won. A movie ticket costs more, and this way I can use my imagination to create my own movie in my head. Maybe this week I am thinking about a trip on the Orient Express. Next week, I am thinking about all the delicious cakes I will buy. Maybe I'm watching a movie and thinking about how I will find a seamstress to recreate all of the costumes for me. It is fun. Story 33. Remodeling the house I grew up in after my mother passed away. My plan is to make it a rental property. Some of the things I have done are a complete waste of money as they are not going to increase the rent. For example, making the master bathroom bigger and replacing the chain link fence with a block wall. I did it because I think my mother would have liked it. Story 34, Ice Maker. I had ice cube trays and they worked perfectly fine. But I am also the type of person to fill a cup completely full of ice, and after a couple of drinks, I used to be all out of ice cubes. Plus, now my ice does not taste like the rest of my freezer. Story 35. My stuffed animals make me happy and do not hurt anyone. My nieces enjoy them too. They also serve as a good arm support if I develop a stomach ulcer again and want to avoid putting pressure on my arm. Story 36. My 30-year-old Land Cruiser. I will die broke because of it, but I have requested to be buried in it, so it will all work out. Story 37. Paying for someone else to mow my lawn. I really hate mowing, and now I don't even have to think about it. It is completely worth it to me. Story 38. Shower mat. I had a stroke 3 years ago and had to use a shower chair for the first few months at home. I live alone, so falling in the shower is terrifying to me. Story 39. A new car. I do not care that I have a monthly payment. My paid-off clunker was costing me so much money it actually reduced me to tears. It was worth every penny to finance my peace of mind. Getting something that is cheap so you do not have a monthly payment ends up costing you in other ways. Story 40. My favorite non-essential item I have purchased is a high-quality professional fabric mermaid tail. When summertime arrives, I enjoy using it enthusiastically in the pool. Story 41. I pay someone to mow my yard. I sold my mower, weed eater, gas cans, and other equipment. Now, for $90 a month, I gain time and garage space. No regrets. Story 42. A 20-course dinner at a Michelin star restaurant on the first night of vacation in Iceland. It was absolutely wonderful. Food, drinks, engagement with the staff. We left feeling satisfied. None of that "now I need a hamburger" joking. It was a you only live once kind of addition to a potentially once-in-a-lifetime vacation. It was a significant part of the vacation budget, but in the end, it was just part of the vacation experience expense. Story 43. The deep cleaning I had done in my house this morning was worth every single penny of the $500. Story 44. I once bought a second hamper for the dirty clothes that I actually wash and wear more often. I had my main hamper and my secondary hamper. My girlfriend thought it was silly, but college student me thought it was brilliant. Adult me still does as well. Story 45. Sometimes when an old mug breaks, I look it up, and if it is reasonably priced on eBay, I buy it again or ask for it on a Christmas list. Story 46. A crepe maker. It is surprising how often I use it and how much it has improved my crepe making skills. I own many kitchen gadgets, but this one was absolutely worth it. Story 47. Realistically, I just bought a very expensive Zojirushi rice cooker. I can cook rice just fine on the stove in a pan. This appliance is excellent. Story 48. I have a prepaid drink subscription. If I am feeling out of sorts, the office is busy, I need to get out of the house or whatever, I just go and get a coffee or a tea, worry-free. It is much more rewarding than I thought it would be, and I have had it for years now. Story 49. Travel trailer. Financially, it is absolutely impossible to justify, but it gets us out of the house, and we have made some incredible memories as we have traveled across the country. Story 50. Paying for car washes. I know I can wash it cheaper myself and the car will just get dirty again, but I feel better driving a clean car and would rather have somebody else do it for me. Story 51. Physical books. I have a Kindle and I adore it. It has dozens of books. However, I really enjoy the experience of reading a book. The feel of the pages, the book smell, the weight of it. I love it. I have 50 to 60 physical books at the moment, and I am doing my best to buy them more sparingly now. Story 52. Weezer tickets near the front row and at the back of general admission for the Voyage to the Blue Planet tour. They are one of my favorite bands. I loved seeing them at Minute Maid Park, but I had nosebleeds, and that was unpleasant. For this tour, I got as close as reasonably possible. Even then, I deleted the memory of how much I paid, but it was worth it. Story 53. I bought a refurbished tube radio from the 1920s, an Atwater Kent brand. I didn't need it, but I wanted it. I have it in my office, which has a dark academia vibe, and I've connected it to my phone. Is the sound quality good? Not really. Would I listen to music post 1960 on it? No, because it sounds terrible. Does it get hot and probably use too much power? Yes. Was it at all necessary considering a million better radios exist? No. Could I have bought a radio for $5 instead of $100 that worked 10 times better? Yes. Do I still love this outdated radio? 100% yes. Do I only listen to oldies on it? Yes, and I enjoy it. They're the only thing that sounds right on it. Does it bring me joy just looking at it and its giant speaker? Absolutely, every time I walk by. When I first got it, did I play Franklin D. Roosevelt's Pearl Harbor speech and pretend it was 1941? You bet I did, and more. Story 54. I recently bought a $3 rubber duck that has an eye patch and a pirate hat. I do not have children. I am over 50. My pirate duck sitting above my tub makes me and my inner Ernie happy. Story 55. I'm pretty sure that for the last 12 years I have been paying $7.99 per month for a Microsoft Word subscription that I have not opened since 2013. I am an older person, and it just feels like something I am supposed to have. Story 56. I am such an easy mark for multi-vinyl album special releases, and I can never bring myself to open them and actually listen. Story 57. My cars. I love driving. If I have a bad day, I can get in my car, play some music, and I feel completely better 30 minutes later. Story 58. Litter robot. It was several $100s, and now I never have to scoop litter. I barely even think about the litter. Story 59. I have always purchased expensive, well-made beach chairs. Currently, I use the Tommy Bahama chair with the cooler pouch and back strap, which costs $95 each. It is worth every penny. Note: the Tommy Bahama chairs sold at Costco for $40 per 2-pack are made with cheap plastic instead of steel and wood. The cheaper chairs break after a few uses or one fall. Story 60. My lizard. He just makes me happy, much happier than the money I spend on him if I just saved it. When I see the gears slowly turning in his tiny little brain until he eventually recognizes Bug directly in front of him, it is worth every cent. Story 61. Any money I spend on random artworks from small or unknown artists is well worth it. One of my favorites is this artist called Monsters Domesticated. Having interesting art scattered around brings joy and sparks creativity. Story 62. If you have worked hard, it is okay to spend some of your saved money on something fun. I do not like most luxury brands, but there is a specific pair of Louis Vuitton purple shoes I want to save for and get one day. They just look very cool and will take my Barney costume to the next level. The idea of me getting them upsets some people close to me. Story 63. Portable air conditioner. I live in Finland where most apartments do not have air conditioning. My wife was initially against it but was convinced in a single day when the inside temperature in the apartment was 21 degrees Celsius instead of 30 degrees Celsius. Story 64. Noise-canceling headphones. In theory, a frivolous expense. In practice, they are a game changer for working in an open-plan area when I need to concentrate. They have also absolutely transformed air travel. Story 65. Scratch-off lottery tickets. Sometimes I need to scratch the itch. Caution. May be addictive. Story 66. I spent $17 on edgy brand nail clippers from TikTok. I swear they are the only nail clippers that do not leave my nails snagged or splitting in a day or two. Story 67. I bought a $300 pair of Armani sweatpants. They increase my comfort and attack readiness to such a degree that I have never regretted the purchase. Story 68. Every single fragile toy or stuffed animal I've bought my daughter at museum gift shops, gas stations, or the dollar section at Target breaks within 4 days, gets dropped and covered in dog hair, or is lost between cushions. I do not mind. They make her happy, keep her occupied and entertained, and show that she is loved and that she matters. She is probably spoiled, and I do not care. Story 69. I bought a wedge pillow set for $120 on Amazon. I don't use it all the time, nor do I defend it, but I like using it when I want to sit comfortably on my bed without lying down or stacking pillows. Story 70. Weed supplies to grow cannabis. I am in at approximately $1,000, but my first grow paid for itself. Additionally, there is no way I can use all of it myself, so I get to give a lot of it away and make some friends happy. I have a neighbor who uses it for pain, and I happily give it to him when I have extra. Story 71. YouTube Premium. I hate not being in control of 100% of the content I consume. I do not want to watch anything I did not click on. I do not want to hear anything I did not play. And I do not want to be informed about something I do not care about. Story 72. Bought a folding phone. Now it is tough to go back. I love this device. I find new uses for the large screen and appreciate it more over time. Surprisingly, I have never had any reliability problems. Story 73. An inch cube of tungsten and magnesium. Every time I give them to someone, they smile. I also like to hold them and feel the weight difference. Story 74. My family thinks it is a waste of money when I throw birthday parties for my dog, Echo. Next month, I am throwing an Echo-themed graduation potluck. I graduated from university recently and decided to make it Echo-themed. I do Echo trivia during the parties and people love it. It makes me happy, makes my dog happy, and brings joy into other people's lives. Story 75. Diced onions or peeled garlic. I know what it costs. I do not give a foul. It has made my cooking infinitely more enjoyable. The only exception is if I am doing a pressure cooker dish, and then my ugly peeled or cleaved onions and garlic go in and no one cares. Story 76. A coffee here, an ice cream there, paying the entrance fee, booking that ticket. Life was meant to be lived and we should not save every dollar. It is all the small moments that make up life. Story 77. Yearly zoo membership pass. I paid for the first 2 years. Now my mother gets it for my birthday each year. Best $50, closer to $60 now, ever. I pack a lunch and make a day trip every other week from spring through fall. It is only about 45 minutes away, or an hour if I want to avoid the freeway and take a scenic route. Only 30 minutes if I go after work at my new job. Story 78. Back in the day when I wore short pants, I scrimped and saved for a really decent 55-pound recurve hunting bow. My mother absolutely lost the plot when she found out how much it cost. She really lost her temper over it. 50 years later, that recurve hunting bow is still going strong. I recently took it on a deer hunt. The original cost was $82. Story 79. My husband bought a grabber on impulse at Daiso. It is strong enough to pull jars off the top shelf, so I do not have to get out a step stool. Story 80. Paying people to clean the house and iron our clothes. Yes, it costs me money every month. But the time I save by not having to clean my place or iron my clothes, along with the relaxed feeling I get from it, is priceless. On a more frivolous note, my bonsai growing set. It was about $40 for the seeds and accessories, but I am invested in growing those little plants, even though it will be years before I get a decent tree from it. Story 81. A heated blanket sounds like something your grandma would get excited about, but it changed my entire winter vibe. Could I survive without it? Yes, sure. But do I want to? Absolutely not. It's like being hugged by a warm cloud. I plug that thing in, wrap myself up like a burrito, and feel instant coziness. It feels like a little luxury that makes cold nights kind of amazing. Even if it was a tiny splurge, I regret nothing. Story 82. A boat, even a small one, requires constant upkeep. It is a lot of work sometimes, but the memories, fun, views, and freedom of being on the water are amazing. Story 83. I will always buy the softest, most premium toilet paper available. Even if I were homeless, I would sell the shoes off my feet for some decent toilet paper. Story 84. I bought a temperature-controlled butter dish. My wife thought it was a ridiculous purchase. It provides perfect spreadable butter every time. We use it daily. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.